Hello, fellow plant enthusiasts. So here I have some Sarracenia seeds, and these seeds over here I collected, I think it was back in either 2018 or 2019, and I never did anything with them. Here I have one variety of hybrid, the seeds from those flowers, and here a different variety. And these seeds, it will be interesting to see what will basically come out from them when they get bigger and flower. Because, you breed different varieties, you plant the seeds of hybrids and you get different varieties, so I might have some interesting flower forms. I tried one time to sow these directly into peat moss and leave them outside, hoping they'll naturally cold stratify and grow in the spring, but that didn't work out for me. I'm sure if I keep trying that, they'll grow. In the meantime, I thought I'll cold stratify these seeds and see if I can get new plantlets out of them. Now, there are different ways that people cold stratify. They'll put a bag in the refrigerator with long fibrous sphagnum moss. Some people will use peat moss, and I'm going to use peat moss. And instead of a bag in the refrigerator, I'm going to use this old vintage McCoy pottery piece. So the first thing I want to do is clean it a little bit. So there is a little residue from, having been used with regular plants, and it really won't affect anything because it's not really like planting these directly in soil. A little residue is not going to hurt, but I'm going to spray a little bit of distilled water just to wipe it down, just to be on the safer side. Not that it will really matter because it's just trace amounts. I'm not one of these overly paranoid people, but it's always nice to start with a clean container for a lot of things when you can. One disclaimer is I've never really cold stratified seeds before, so I'm not an expert. I'm just going with what I've done online and showing you how in person versus what I've read on other websites. And different websites have different things. Some prefer, as I mentioned, long fiber to peat moss. And this peat moss is a little dry, but I basically had what was left in a bag of peat moss. I put them in a container, and I'm just using the little bit I have left. I did buy a new bag, which I haven't opened yet. As the weather warms up a bit, I'm going to be transplanting some of my Sarracenias and hopefully not make a really big mess doing that like I am now. So I'll be having a new container to have more Sarracenias because they need to be divided. I have different ones in one container that will need to be separated. Just different things. So if you're looking how to grow North American pitcher plants outdoors in a way that's very low maintenance, check out my other videos on them. And I have a playlist on my channel which includes it's from another channel of mine where I have how to grow them, and they've been really happy in that method. So I'm actually just going to keep it up to this high because once they germinate, I'm going to want to put a little layer, and I need to be careful that this won't get flooded once I try to germinate them if I have it outdoors and uncovered in the rain. Okay, so a little bit more cleaning up here. And one other thing I want to do is I have some scraps of, this is not the self-adhesive craft foam like I used underneath here, but I do want to make a dividing place to see which one of these seeds work best, and if these older ones actually do germinate after 3 or 4 years. So I do need to water this a little bit. You want it moist, not saturated, and because it's really dry, it's going to take a moment to soak up in there. And you see how it's floating? It will eventually soak up and get okay, but I'm also going to cut slivers and use these slivers of craft foam as a demarcation. Typically we'll use a paper cutter so I can get them perfectly cut versus imperfectly cut, but I just need 2 strands. Okay, and now I need to take these older ones first and divide them. I don't see, oh, that one was a bad one. It didn't really have much seeds. So these weren't very, oh, there are some seeds in there, but I'm gonna have to now pick them out. There aren't that many seeds in these. These weren't very good ones, actually. Some seed pods become duds. I'm gonna check about this. No, it still has to soak up a little. Okay. So now I'm gonna do this next batch and check out these seeds. I don't see much in that one. Okay, plenty of seeds here. So by breaking up a layer versus all the globularness, I ensure that seeds aren't going to fall down all the way to where the water is. And this moisture, I left the peat moss fairly globular, so it's going to soak back down eventually. It's not overfilled, so keep that in mind. And as the peat moss layer at the top starts soaking the water, it's going to stay nice and moist. Just want to make sure it's not very globular after it's been dry. Then I'm going to spread this around, and now I have some. This will soak up water and moisten, especially when I have it covered, so it's going to be good for the peat moss. I only have 5 tiny seeds, so I'm just going to put them in here from the ones that I've had from 2 or 3 years. I mean 4 seeds, not really 5, so I'm just setting them on top. And then I'm going to set an area of demarcation about here, because these are fewer than those. So now I have these seeds that I extracted, and I have more. This seed pod, let's see if I can shake any seeds out of it. Yeah, this one's no good. These typically flower, and I don't see too many insects at the time they flower, so I feel like some of these seed pods could be duds. So this one, if we open it, you can see the seeds in there. So this one has plenty of seeds. I'm just going to directly sprinkle these in here. Make sure I don't get them into the other side. Go peel this open, more seeds. I'll go ahead and sprinkle these in there too. Okay, so this exhausts one variety of hybrid seeds. I'm getting better at extracting these seeds, aren't I? So today is the end of February, and typically you want 1 to 2 months at least for cold stratifying. They say a minimum of 1 month. Some people say 4 to 6 weeks, and if they're stratified a little longer, some people claim they'll germinate better. This one has a lot of seeds. I'm happy. So we'll find out if These germinate. I don't know if I'll have them in for a month or a little more than a month. So you may want to subscribe to stay tuned, but I will say that I am very busy, so it may be a little over a month. And then this pod is obviously a dud, you see that? Not wasting my time with that. Although I already have, haven't I? Oh, this one I thought was a dud too. It has seeds. They may be all bad, I don't know. But better be safe than sorry. Whoops. And if you notice, I have way too many seeds in the center versus being spread out. This one's a dud. So anyway, I'm going to try to spread these out a little. And I did not notice any seeds jumping the borders, so that's good. And so I have this cling wrap. I'm going to cover this, place it in the fridge for a few weeks, and hopefully I will be successful at cold stratifying these. If there is any advice from those of you who are good at cold stratifying, because this is the first time I've done so, please leave a message in the comments. And also please make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date if I were to make additional videos, if I do have success and I get to show them off in a video. Or if you have any other advice down the road, that would be great. Thanks for watching and happy planting.